In the quiet coastal town of Carøy, Norway, the oldest Viking ship burial mound has been unearthed, dating back to around 700 AD. Under a grassy hill lay a grand ship and fragments of human bones, accompanied by weapons, jewelry, and everyday tools. These artifacts reflect the immense wealth, cultural connections, and daily lives of a powerful leader whose identity remains a mystery. What secrets do these ancient relics hold? Watch till the end to uncover the full story of this remarkable archaeological find. The Vikings believed that death was not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. To them, ships were much more than wooden structures. They were powerful symbols of this transition to the afterlife. Picture a Viking warrior laid to rest in a grand ship, ready to sail to the next world. This was not merely a poetic notion, but a deeply rooted cultural practice. Ships were seen as a means of traveling to the afterlife, symbolizing the deceased's journey to the next life. This belief was deeply embedded in Viking culture, reflecting their nautical lifestyle and the importance of the sea in their daily lives. In Norse mythology, warriors who perished in battle were destined for Valhalla, Odin's majestic hall. This belief greatly influenced Viking funeral rituals. They often buried their dead in ships, ensuring the deceased had a proper vessel to reach Valhalla. These ship burials were grand, reflecting the importance of the individual's journey to the afterlife. Vikings buried their dead either at sea or on land, with the ship serving as a symbol of the journey to the afterlife. The ship burial was a prestigious practice reserved for elite members of society, reflecting their status and achievements. The inclusion of grave goods and offerings in the ship burial was crucial, as these items were believed to be necessary for the deceased in their afterlife, like weapons and jewelry. This practice reflected the Vikings' deep connection to the material and spiritual worlds. The ship's burial was a way of life for Vikings to express their beliefs about the cosmos and the afterlife. The elaborate ship burials, with their rich grave goods and offerings, symbolized the deceased's status and the importance of their journey to the afterlife. Viking ship burials differed from other ancient burial practices in several significant ways. The symbolism behind Viking ship burials was unique. Ships were more than just vessels. They symbolized both physical journeys across the seas and the spiritual voyage after death, setting Viking burials apart. Burial practices varied across Scandinavia. Norway favored ship burials, while Sweden used stone ship settings and Denmark preferred burial mounds, showing regional variations. Moreover, Vikings employed both cremation and inhumation practices, with cremation being more common in some regions, showing their diverse beliefs about death. Viking ship burials also involved elaborate rituals, including animal sacrifices and feasts, designed to aid the deceased in their journey to the afterlife, which was unique to Viking culture. Additionally, ship burials were reserved for the elite, reflecting their high social status and wealth, setting them apart from other burial practices. Finally, ship burials were part of a broader historical context that included exploration, trade, and warfare, influencing their development and unique characteristics. In our quest to understand Viking ship burials, we now turn to one of the most remarkable discoveries ever made: the Osberg ship. Found in a large burial mound at the Osberg farm near Tonberg in Norway, this ship is celebrated as one of the finest artifacts from the Viking Age. The Osberg ship was excavated in 1904 to 1905 by Swedish archaeologist Gabriel Gustafsson and Norwegian archaeologist Håkon Skyttelig. This well-preserved vessel lay hidden in a kurgan mound or barrow, along with 2 female skeletons and an impressive array of grave goods. Scientific dating suggests the ship was buried around 834 AD, with parts of its structure dating back to as early as 800 AD. The Osberg ship is a carve, a type of Viking vessel constructed almost entirely of oak. It measures 21.58 meters in length and 5.10 meters in width, with a mast standing approximately 9 to 10 meters tall. Its sail area of 90 square meters allowed it to achieve speeds of up to 10 knots. With 15 pairs of oar openings, it could be rowed by 30 people. The ship's fittings included a broad steering oar, iron anchor, gangplank, and a bailer. One of the most striking features of the Osberg ship is its elaborate decoration. The bow and stern are adorned with intricate wood carvings in the gripping beast style, also known as the Osberg style. These carvings showcase the artistic skill and cultural richness of the Viking Age, adding to the ship's grandeur and significance. Today, the Asberg ship and its treasures are displayed at the Viking Ship Museum in Oslo, Norway. Detailed photographic and laser scans have been made to ensure the preservation of this priceless artifact. These scans also aid in debates about moving the ship to a new museum without causing damage. And in another one of the greatest discoveries of Viking ship burials, archaeologists in Norway have made an incredible discovery. A 1,300-year-old ship burial that predates the Viking Age, now the oldest known ship burial in Scandinavia. This find, located at the Herleshagen burial mound in Lika, sheds new light on ancient burial practices and the seafaring skills of the early Scandinavians. The Herleshagen burial mound, a large grassy hill measuring 23 feet tall and 197 feet in diameter, has long been suspect to contain a ship. This summer, archaeologists confirmed these suspicions. Working on behalf of the Norwegian Directorate for Cultural Heritage, they excavated part of the mound and uncovered large rivets and pieces of wood, indicating the presence of a ship. Radiocarbon dating suggests the mound was built around 700 CE, during the Merovingian period, which predates the Viking era. Ship burials were a traditional custom, believed to ensure a safe transition to the afterlife by interring the deceased inside a vessel and covering it with a dirt mound. This practice highlights the deep connection between seafaring and spiritual beliefs in ancient Scandinavian culture. The discovery suggests that people in the region were skilled seafarers who could build large ships much earlier than previously thought. The Herleshagen mound also bridges a gap between early Scandinavian ship burials, which date to the end of the 8th century, and the famous Sutton Hoo ship burial in England, dating to the early 7th century. This raises intriguing questions about the relationship between ship burial traditions in Scandinavia and England. Researchers continue to study the mound to learn more about the ship and the people who built it. Historical records indicate the site was excavated several times in the 18th century, revealing a seated skeleton with a sword, animal bones, charcoal, iron nails, and a bronze kettle, though these items have been lost since the 1920s. Lika's location along a centuries-old shipping route suggests extensive trade by ship along the coast. This discovery not only provides insights into burial practices, but also into the maritime activities and cultural exchanges of the time. The Herleshagen burial mound shares notable similarities with the Sutton Hoo burial in England, both dating to the Merovingian period. Both sites feature ship burials with rich grave offerings, symbolizing the power and wealth of the deceased, and highlighting their significant societal roles. Ship burials in Scandinavia and England were reserved for high-status individuals, reflecting social achievement and power. The Herleshagen mound emphasizes the elite nature of these practices, serving as grand statements of the deceased's influence and prestige. Located along a centuries-old shipping route, Herleshagen suggests deep involvement in maritime trade, reinforcing ship burials as symbols of power and wealth from extensive trade. Both Scandinavian and English ship burials shared elements of symbolism and cosmology, aiding the deceased's journey to the afterlife and underscoring the spiritual and practical significance of seafaring in those societies. Finally, the Ardnamurchan Peninsula burial is a remarkable Viking ship burial discovered in 2011 on the north coast of the Ardnamurchan Peninsula in western Scotland. Nestled in Swartle Bay, a sheltered natural harbor, the burial site boasts a freshwater source and fertile farming land. This strategic location, rich in history, was ideal for maritime trade and travel. A wealth of grave goods was discovered in the burial. These items not only symbolize the deceased's status and achievements, but also their cultural significance. Isotope analysis of the human remains suggests that the individual did not originate from the western seaboard of Britain, but rather from eastern Britain or Scandinavia. This aligns with the oxygen isotope ratio of 16.7%, supporting the notion that the individual traveled from a region with lower 18O precipitation values to be buried in Swartle Bay. Dated to the early 10th century AD, the burial occurred during a period of significant cultural and economic exchange between Scotland, Ireland, and the Viking homeland. The presence of Irish beads and other artifacts underscores the connection between these regions at that time. The burial's ritual significance is highlighted by the inclusion of specific items and the boat's orientation, indicating a funeral designed to facilitate the deceased's journey to the afterlife while connecting with past traditions. Excavated and conserved by AOC Archaeology, with funding from Viking River Cruises and the Strathmartine Trust, the conservative process aimed to preserve the artifacts and the site for future study and public display. The typical grave goods found in Viking ship burials varied, but often included swords, spears, axes, and sometimes shields, symbolizing the deceased's status as a warrior and their ability to defend themselves in the afterlife. Jewelry, such as brooches, necklaces, rings, arm rings, amulets, and beads made of precious metals like gold, silver, or amber, represented wealth, status, and personal adornment. Tools and implements like knives, combs, weaving tools, cooking utensils, and other everyday items assisted the deceased in the afterlife. Vessels and utensils, including pottery vessels, drinking horns, wooden bowls, and other containers for food, drink, or offerings. Personal items like grooming tools, coins, gaming pieces, amulets, and sentimental items held significance to the individual. In some cases, animal sacrifices were buried alongside the deceased, symbolizing the provision of sustenance for the afterlife and the importance of animals in Viking religious beliefs. Imported glass vessels from the Rhineland, France, and the British Isles were highly valued by the Vikings. Coins from various regions represent the Vikings' connection to the world and their wealth. Rare finds of Buddha statues and other Eastern religious symbols indicate an awareness of other worlds and religious figures in Viking Scandinavia. Decorative buckles from France were imported and used in Viking burials. These items, chosen based on regional variations, social status, and individual preferences, were believed to assist the deceased in their journey to the afterlife. As we wrap up our look at Viking ship burials, we're amazed by the stories they reveal. From the treasures found to the rituals performed, each discovery tells a piece of history. Our journey doesn't end here. If you enjoyed this, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating insights into history and archaeology news.